Kailangan nating maghiwalay. Lumayo ka sa akin. Kasi malapit ka sa akin. Diyan ka muna. At dito ako. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo. Huwag mo akong tatabihan. Huwag mo akong hahawakan. Please lang. Huwag mo akong sasamahan. Diyan ka lang. Titiisin kita kasi kailangan. Mahirap tanggapin pero dapat gawin. Dapat magtago, dapat mawala, dapat munang maghiwalay. Dapat munang magkanya-kanya. Pasensya. Tatalikuran muna kita. Kaya dyan ka muna. At dito ko. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo. Baliktad na nga ang mundo. Nakakapanibago. Pero para sa'yo, para sa atin to. Kaya sa ngayon, ganito muna. May distansya. Ngunit sa distansya tayo mas nagkalapit pa. Sa distansya tayo mas nagkita. Dito tayo naghanapan, nagtawagan. Dito tayo gumawa ng paraan. Dito bumalik ang tawanan. Nagsayawan at nagkantahan. Sa distansya tayo nagtulungan. At habang lahat ay nagsaraduhan, sa distansya tayo naging mas bukas. Kaya huwag mag-alala. Matatapos din ang laban. Kasi yung bawat araw na malayo ka ay isang araw na papalapit sa muling pagsasama. Pero dyan ka muna. At dito ako. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo. Kailangan nating maghiwalay. Lumayo ka sa akin. Kasi malapit ka sa akin. Diyan ka muna. At dito ako. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo. Huwag mo akong tatabihan. Huwag mo akong hahawakan. Please lang. Huwag mo akong sasamahan. Diyan ka lang. Titiisin kita kasi kailangan. Mahirap tanggapin pero dapat gawin. Dapat magtago, dapat mawala, dapat munang maghiwalay. Dapat munang magkanya-kanya. Pasensya. Tatalikuran muna kita. Kaya dyan ka muna. At dito ko. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo. Baliktad na nga ang mundo. Nakakapanibago. Pero para sa'yo, para sa atin to. Kaya sa ngayon, ganito muna. May distansya. Ngunit sa distansya tayo mas nagkalapit pa. Sa distansya tayo mas nagkita. Dito tayo naghanapan, nagtawagan. Dito tayo gumawa ng paraan. Dito bumalik ang tawanan. Nagsayawan at nagkantahan. Sa distansya tayo nagtulungan. At habang lahat ay nagsaraduhan, sa distansya tayo naging mas bukas. Kaya huwag mag-alala. Matatapos din ang laban. Kasi yung bawat araw na malayo ka ay isang araw na papalapit sa muling pagsasama. Pero dyan ka muna. At dito ako. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo. Kailangan nating maghiwalay. Lumayo ka sa akin. Kasi malapit ka sa akin. Diyan ka muna. At dito ko. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo. Huwag mo kong tatabihan. Huwag mo kong hahawakan. Please lang. Huwag mo kong sasamahan. Diyan ka lang. Titiisin kita kasi kailangan. Mahirap tanggapin pero dapat gawin. Dapat magtago, dapat mawala, dapat munang maghiwalay. Dapat munang magkanya-kanya. Pasensya. Tatalikuran muna kita. Kaya dyan ka muna. At dito ko. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo. Baliktad na nga ang mundo. Nakakapanibago. Pero para sa'yo, para sa atin to. Kaya sa ngayon, ganito muna. May distansya. Ngunit sa distansya tayo mas nagkalapit pa. Sa distansya tayo mas nagkita. Dito tayo naghanapan, nagtawagan, dito tayo gumawa ng paraan. Dito bumalik ang tawanan. Nagsayawan at nagkantahan. Sa distansya tayo nagtulungan. At habang lahat ay nagsaraduhan, sa distansya tayo naging mas bukas. Kaya huwag mag-alala. Matatapos din ang laban. Kasi yung bawat araw na malayo ka ay isang araw na papalapit sa muling pagsasama. Pero dyan ka muna. At dito ko. Magkalayo. Kasi close tayo.
All right, good morning, everyone. I am KV Rojas of the American Chamber of Commerce, and I am pleased to welcome you all to another Learning Field webinar today. I'm glad to announce that we have almost 100 participants joining with us today. And as played by the video, we hope everyone is keeping safe and sound in the comfort of your homes, especially now that the ECQ is extended. We would like to inform everyone that this webinar is recorded and may be posted in social media channels. Today's session is in partnership with Upstream corporate partner, Globe Telecom, entitled Driving Business Continuity During a Crisis with Remote Solutions. Business continuity plan is needed now more than ever. With the heightened uncertainty brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, it is imperative for each company to embrace not just best work from home policies, but as well as effective digital and remote solutions. There are a number of challenges businesses face now today, such as insufficient laptops provided to the employees and data security, among others. The call for more innovative methodologies for businesses to adopt increased fourfold as a business response to COVID-19. In this webinar, we will learn more about remote work solutions and modernizing secure remote access in order to equip your workforce, leading to an interruptible and secure business environment. All right, I know all of you are excited to hear our speaker, Mr. Mon Catane, with 111 participants now and counting, and a discussion with our respected panelists. But before we proceed, we would like to establish some Zoom house rules to our almost 100 attendees today. Okay, so please utilize the Q&A button. You can ask anytime during the session, but please be reminded that we have allotted 20 minutes for the Q&A after the session. All questions will be shown, and attendees can either vote or comment a particular question. Please use a vote when the question is already asked, so it would help ease the moderating later on. Questions will be answered live or by typing in the answers from the host, speaker, or from our panelist. The chat icon will be disabled, so please utilize the raise hand button should you prefer to ask your questions live. You'll be able to get the copy of the presentation available and a recording after submitting the survey that will be shown later on by our speaker. All right, now that we are done with that, I would like to introduce and give the floor to Mr. Francisco Claraval, also known as Kokoy Claraval. You can see his profile right now and shown in your screen, and almost all of it are worth mentioning. Kokoy currently leads a team that focuses on evaluating new products, and he is also spearheading the growth of Globe business cybersecurity initiatives. Prior to that, he was head for product development and management of Globe's consumer products in broadband and mobile, a cum laude graduate and has an MBA in Ateneo. One of the most interesting facts about Kokoy that I also learned a few days ago and actually listened to 3 days ago is that Kokoy is a musical artist and his songs and playlists can be found on Spotify. So before I cue in Kokoy, I have an introductory question to you. How do you balance leading a team at the same time, managing your almost 18,000 followers on Spotify? Let's all welcome Mr. Kokoy Claraval.
Hey, KV, thanks for the intro. You don't actually balance it, right? So if there's one thing that you're passionate about, you just make time for it. So in work, my passion is doing the ICT stuff for Globe. Outside of work, my passion is in the music side. So thank you for the intro.
Thank you, Kokoy.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to the American Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines and Globe Business webinar on driving business continuity during a crisis with remote solutions. Thank you for taking time to be with us here today. The global pandemic has amplified the necessity for everyone to adopt digitally. We see many companies shift most, if not all of their employees to working remotely in response. At the same time, schools, colleges, and universities have closed their campuses and switched to more distance learning. Public transport has ceased operations, and we also see a huge spike in digital payment adoption. While I understand the various challenges, adjustments, and uncertainties that this pandemic brings about, I find comfort in the natural ability of people to adapt and persevere. Now more than ever, the need for Globe Business to become the trusted business advisor for our customers has never been more relevant. Within this short period of time, despite the challenges imposed by the current working conditions, we consistently aim to provide enterprises with quality business continuity products and services, which help our customers allow their business and day-to-day operations run optimally, and in turn be able to still service their own customers. The situation we are in poses a lot of uncertainties, specifically on the duration of this pandemic. What you will discover today is how we plan to help you address these uncertainties. Discover how our roster of cloud and security solutions work hand in hand to ensure business continuity and readiness for your company in the long term. Our commitment to serve you and your business needs remains stronger than ever. We will continue to come up with new programs and solutions to help you cope with the challenges that lie ahead. I hope you discover and learn a lot from our resource speakers this morning. In closing, I would like to take this opportunity to pay homage to the modern day heroes of Globe who sacrificed so much during this difficult time. I present to you Globe Voices at Work, a group of musically talented Globe employees, and their rendition of Isang Dugo, Isang Lahi, Isang Musika, a heartfelt performance that is dedicated to our Globe frontliners who tirelessly continue to deliver services to the Filipino nation. Our hashtag COVID heroes. Thank you and have a wonderful morning.
In times of change and uncertainty, looking out for each other is what keeps our country going. Our innate malasakit that springs people to action. our Bayanihan spirit calls upon ordinary people and turn them into heroes.
All right, apologies for that. That is not the video that we're about to show you. We have a very exciting video that Globe Telecom is singing as We Heal as One. Here you go.
Isang awit, pag-ibig ang hatid, at musika'y batid sa bawat puso at isip.
Tayo ay Pilipino, isang bansa, pati magkaisa. Isang dugo, isang lahi at musika, ang pangarap ko'y bansang mapayapa. Ang titig ang aking narinig, minsay na narinig, aking bansa'y umawit.
Ang aking dalangin, kay sino ang hindi magkaisa sa awitin. Ikaw at ako, tayo ay Pilipino, isang bansa, at di magkaisa. Isang dugo, isang lahi at musika, ang pangarap ko'y bansang mapayapa.
Ang aking narinig, minsay na naging ating bansa'y umawit.
Ang awit, pag-ibig ang hatid, at musika'y batid sa bawat puso at isip. Ikaw at ako, tayo ay Pilipino, isang bansa, at di magkaisa. Isang dugo, isang lahi at musika, ang pangarap ko'y bansang mapayapa. Ikaw at ako, tayo ay Pilipino, isang bansa, di magkaisa. Isang dugo, isang lahi at musika, ang pangarap ko, ang pangarap ko, ang pangarap ko'y bansang mapayapa. Bansang
All right, isang dugo, isang lahi, isang musika. Thank you for sharing that with us, Kokoy. Are you actually part of the team who composed this song?
No, but I'd love to next time.
All right, thank you for that, Kakoy. Now we're going to move on with our speaker for today, Mr. Raymond, or Mon Katane. Mr. Mon Katane is the current Director of Solutions Sales, Cloud and IT Infrastructure of Globe, and his current role is to champion enterprise digital information through ICT cloud solutions in the Philippines. Globe Enterprise Group covers the top 5,000 companies in the country. He established a proven track record, driving sales productivity and efficiency leading to year-on-year growth through a proven sales management process, bringing technology and automation into the forefront. He previously worked with Right Cloud, which is an Asia Advanced consulting partner, and with Microsoft Azure. But three attributes of Mon are worth mentioning. Mon is technologically adept, results-oriented, and inspiring sales leader with over 20 years experience. Interesting facts about Mon is that he likes to go off-road biking in Silang, Cavite. Aside from gourmet cooking at home, he is also a certified YouTube chef. What Mon will present to us today is extremely valuable in these trying times. How we can, as business leaders, further adopt in this pandemic and at the same time continue our business operations remotely. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to give the floor to our accomplished speaker today, Mr. Mon Katane.
Well, thank you, KV, and good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to join this webinar as your lead speaker in partnership with Globe Business and the American Chamber to collaborate in supporting Philippine industries during this period of crisis, and one that is, we are confident will yield positive and productive outcomes for business in this new era of work. You know, before I proceed, I would like to run a quick poll, a simple poll in this webinar among the American Chamber members. We are putting up the polling screen where you can encode your selection. The question is, over the next 6 months, what is your company's target percentage of your employees that will be working from home? And I'd like to quickly see the members have just encode your selection and see where it takes us. Right, so if enough people have responded, we can flash the screen on the results quickly. Okay, great. So I guess we're seeing that many of the membership have put in that they expect over 50% of the workforce will be working from home within the next 6 months. So that's an interesting statistic. I'd like to start off my slide by showing that across major industries in the US, and this reflected globally, market capitalization has declined. This is due to the halt of global commerce impacted by COVID-19. Many companies have their floors literally pulled from under them, and we are in this period of being off balance, creating a high degree of anxiety across our organizations. Survival is dependent on corporate tightening measures to conserve cash and prioritize liquidity to ride out the storm. And corporate spending is prioritized on services that contribute to business agility and acceleration. As we ride out this continued ECQ, many local companies, starting with the large conglomerates, are busy preparing for different business reality, balancing remote workforce productivity while supporting occupational safety for its employees. Equipping the remote workforce opens up a new kind of challenges, as well as corporate security risks that need to be carefully addressed. We in the corporate world see ourselves going through any of these three buckets. One is the pre-ECQ, the pre-quarantine period, where companies were focused on expansion and enhancing systems to gain business advantage. During the ECQ, there was a shift from this expansion view to one that touches on how the business will resume operations just to survive. Equipping the employee with tools and capabilities to remain productive and continued collaboration with peers. How to sustain customer serving operations that are needed by end consumers of these services or products. And keeping alert on ways to achieve data, systems, and operation security within the digital infrastructure. Post ECQ, we asked the question, how do we ensure agility and readiness to adapt in a continually evolving business environment? How do we identify revenue streams and customer interaction channels to grow the business? I'd like to introduce that Globe Business is responding to calls to support its customers. That whether corporate or consumers that look at communication and connectivity as an essential service. We'd like to present a short video that showcases how we are building a globe of good in the era of COVID-19. Let's roll the video.
Is what keeps our country going. Our innate malasakit that springs people to action. Our bayanihan spirit calls upon ordinary people and turns them into heroes. Our inherent resiliency that brings about eternal hope. We have what it takes to overcome the challenges. Together, even when we're apart, we take care of the connections that bind us. We move as one to build an army of millions. We spread hope and light each other's paths in the darkest of times.
Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nag-donate sa mga kliyente ng Globe na tumulong para ma-raise itong donasyon na ito.
In this battle, our Filipino spirit will see us through. And together, we will move forward and embrace our new tomorrow.
Well, thank you. Thank you for watching this short video on One Globe versus COVID. I'd like to go into a next slide, which actually is another poll. If you don't mind, I'd like to get the general membership's reactions on this question. What are the top issues that IT managers face when supporting your employees to work from home? You can encode again your responses, and we'd like to take a view as to what you put in as your observation. So we'll just spend maybe a few minutes or maybe a few seconds to get your answers, and then we'll flash the results of the screen.
All right, you have 32% of the attendees answering the poll, Mon.
All right. Okay, when we're ready, we can flash the
Now we're
results.
sharing the results to you.
Great. It's interesting that
Hello, Mon. All right, I think
Hello.
oh, there you go. Mon is back.
Yeah. Sorry. I think you lost me there for a minute.
Hey, Mon, we can hear you now.
All right. Employees work from home scenario. Sufficient constraints and environments or these virtual desktop infrastructure environments. Okay. So I think what needs to be seen is that, or need to be done is that we need to explore, okay, simple and cost-effective solutions that are needed to address these workplace challenges. AWS is the largest provider of public cloud, infrastructure and platform solutions. The end user computing services that are offered by AWS, such as Workspace, has actually been around for more than of public cloud.
Hi, Mon. I think we're experiencing a very intermittent connection from your end. I think it's most important to hear your message to our attendees. Is it okay if you actually turn off your video, please? So you can keep your audio and still keep discussing this with us. Thank you.
This is working?
That's so much better. You may go on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Running on AWS. Which is a premier partner of AWS. We now bring the full scale and technical competencies to implement, AWS end user computing solutions for our enterprise customers. These platforms give companies the operational edge to reduce downtime, support operational efforts that extend beyond the corporate data center. And these are designed to achieve significant cost savings, getting the scalability and performance needed in alignment with compliance and security goals, and providing seamless experience to its employees. The topic of business continuity planning, or BCP, as it's more and more known, is foremost in the minds of corporate owners. We see the landscape changing for different types of users that need to bring their productivity to the home setting, oftentimes not ideal due to problems in the quality of connectivity, and having the devices and productivity tools or applications needed for a seamless experience. To support the home worker, okay, it's known that CIOs and IT heads of these companies target key business considerations that should be met. Right? These are the 4 areas: speed, scalability, a pay-as-you-go approach or model, and adherence to security and compliance standards. With one of the end user computing solutions of AWS, which is Amazon Workspaces, I'd like to just go over a bit that Workspaces is, offers an easy way to provide a secure and managed cloud-based virtual desktop experience to end users. Unlike traditional on-premise virtual desktop infrastructures or VDI solutions, you don't have to worry about procuring, deploying, and managing a complex environment. Amazon Workspaces takes care of the heavy lifting and provides a fully managed service. With Workspaces, you can deliver a high-quality portable desktop and applications to your users on the device of their choice. On the area of cost, Workspaces offers a low pay-as-you-go fee model It gives you a complete cloud-based virtual desktop service, including the compute and persistent storage and applications, access to applications. You have the option to pay, which is based on a monthly or hourly consumption. So your workers can leverage, when they want or when they need to use Workspace to access their application. This is tied to how the user role is set, right? Whether the employee is a full-time employee or a contractual or seasonal worker. The concept of workspace bundles, gets you to select a variety that offer different hardware and software options and launch the number of workspaces that you require. When you talk about having a secure and encrypted setup, Workspaces helps customers meet the compliance and security requirements. With Workspaces, the organization's data is not sent or stored on any end user device. Data remains in the cloud or in your on-premise environment. Workspaces provides the ability to encrypt the storage volumes that come with the setup. You have the option to encrypt storage drives, when you launch a new Workspace account. And you ensure that the data that is in transit and at rest are encrypted, along with images of the volume that come with the account setup. When we talk about scaling quickly, provisioning the desktops with Workspaces is quite easy. Whether you choose to launch one or many Workspaces, all you need to do is to choose the bundles that best meet the needs of your users and the number of Workspaces that you would like to launch. Once your Workspaces have been provisioned, a user will receive an email, getting the instructions on where to download the client applications that they need and how to connect to their Workspace account. And so when you no longer need a particular Workspace, after you use it, you can also easily delete it once you're done or once you've moved out of a work from home environment. Workspaces also supports multiple devices. Users can access their Workspace from Windows, Mac, or Linux computers. You can use a variety of devices, Chromebooks, iPads, tablets, and the Chrome and Firefox web browsers. So your users' applications and data remain persistent so that they can easily switch between devices without losing their work. So moving on to the next end user computing solution, there's a product called Appstream. Okay, Appstream is a service that allows you to access your desktop applications securely from any supported device. Your desktop applications can be accessed securely through an HTML capable web browser on Windows or Linux PCs, Macs, Chromebooks, iPads, or Android tablets. So for supported versions of Windows, the Appstream client can be used for streaming as well. Some of the benefits that you see would be, using Appstream that affords the security of the application and data. Applications and data remain on the AWS cloud, and only encrypted, what they call pixels, are streamed to users. Applications that run on an Appstream instance is dedicated to each user, so that the computing resources are not shared. Okay. Appstream also provides a consistent and scalable performance. It runs on AWS, with access to compute capabilities that are not available on local devices. This means that your applications can run consistently with high performance. You can instantly scale locally and globally and ensure that your users are always getting a low latency experience. You can also integrate with your IT environment. Okay. By running applications that are inside your virtual private cloud, your users can access data and other resources that you have in AWS. This reduces the movement of data between AWS and your environment and provides a faster user experience. The next solution in the AWS end user computing solutions is Amazon Workbox. It is a fully managed and service, that provides secure content creation, storage, and collaboration. With Workdocs, all your files are available on demand from your device without having to consume valuable disk space that are on your PCs or your Mac. You can use Amazon Workdocs drives, as your primary user drive, and you don't need to use network sharing to store your content. Workdocs also allows you to easily share with teams, and invite external users for cross-organizational collaboration. And as we see these benefits of Workdocs, they can come in together with Workspace and Upstream. These are collaborative tools. Amazon Chime, is another service that is available as part of the end user computing solution. This is your ability to use, calls, chats, to collaborate with teams and members seamlessly. They provide a low latency and high availability experience for your users and workers to collaborate with each other and with customers. As we look at all these solutions, the question then will be, where do we start, right? In order for companies to go on that journey to architect the environments that are necessary for workers, Globe Business, has the ability to work with you, our customers, to design an implementation plan that makes it a predictable experience for our customers. We like to start small and deliver visible wins together. So when we work with our customers, these are some of the things that we do. We ask them to, we work with them to define, what is the overall work from home strategy of the company. Things like deciding also on, how the users will be profiled and segmented that will be working from home. We select, we work with the customer to select the initial use cases and define the performance characteristics that spell success. We also build the pilot solution, right, together with the customer, because we feel that starting small means that we have to identify the elements that make a work from home environment successful. We continually test in that small pilot environment, and then we run a user acceptance test with the customer, so that we know that if we start with this small footprint, there is a pathway for us to work towards a larger production deployment. If the company is seeking to identify more and more of its workers to work from home. In the deployment phase, we sit and work with the customer through every phase of the production rollout, so that any problems that exist during the rollout are quickly identified and remediated. And once that success has been delivered and mapped, we work with the customer as well to continuously iterate. Because in the changing environment that comes with a work from home scenario, it is predictable that there will be changes that happen, transformations that happen, working environments that may change over time. And that's why it's important that in the journey that we have with our customers, we continue to iterate, so that we can deliver services that match the needs of our customers. So in summary, we'd like to get into more discussion with our customers interactively and face-to-face meeting with them. We have a panel that can answer in more detail some technical questions that you may have. But in the meantime, you can, I'd like to invite any questions or any clarifications or any help that any of your members might have with in considering a work from home scenario. Contact me. My email is flashed. My LinkedIn profile is also provided. My mobile number is flashed also on the screen. We encourage all our customers. We pray for your safety, so stay safe at home. Okay. And I've been I'd like to invite for us to get together more and more. We'd like to invite the membership to scan the QR code provided to answer a short survey to let us know your thoughts. And as you are answering the short survey, I'd also like to invite you to get in touch with us, right? So that we can engage actively with you. Many of you are from a variety of industries and verticals. We have our sales leadership flashed on the screen. Their contact information is provided. Okay. And we'd also certainly like to hear from you as well, right? To see where we can help, where Globe can provide a central role in your IT rollouts for work from home strategies and during this time. So in conclusion, I would like to get you more. If you have questions about the services, the BCP offers we have, there is a link provided, to our website. And I hope that we hear from you soon. We'd love to collaborate continuously with the American Chamber to provide meaningful solutions for your environment. So with that, I'd like to end my presentation. Thank you very much for listening in, and back to you, KV.
All right, Mon, thank you for that insightful and detailed presentation. Again, we would like to ask everyone to scan the QR code to access the survey form. Your feedback is valuable to us. For iPhone users, you may just use your camera and it would directly link you to the form and a scanner app or Viber scan for Android. For those Android users that we have here. We'll be flashing the QR code again before the closing remarks from our Executive Director, Eb Hinchliffe. So please stand by on that. All right, we will move on now to our exciting part of the session. Upstream is honored to present to you today our distinguished panelists. There are common denominators with this exemplary gentleman. They're great leaders, technologically adept, passionate and committed in bringing effective solutions to your workplace. Please let me introduce them to you one by one. You will see their profile on screen. Let's start with Mr. Joel Garcia, Senior Manager, Solutions Architecture of Amazon Web Services. Joel graduated from De La Salle University with over 27 years of enterprise experience in multifaceted roles, from consulting, pre-sales, product management, business leadership, evangelism, and was a co-founder of a startup. There are three things that are very interesting about Joel that you will not find in his profile that shows in your screen right now. Joel makes a mean espresso creme brulee, enjoys road cycling, and previously used to host a small segment on IT show InfoChat. We are thrilled to have you here, Joel. Please join us in the panel and say a few words to our attendees.
Yeah, thank you, KB. It's very good to be here today. I trust that everyone is staying safe. It's great to be with the business leadership and to hear the challenges and how we can address those. So very good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. It's an honor to have you. Next, we have Mr. Wai Tong. Wai Tong is the current end-user computing ASEAN of Amazon Web Services. Wai Tong is an accomplished business leader with proven ability and solid experience in delivering sustainable results against a fast-changing business landscape. Over the last 20 years, Wai has held a variety of management positions spanning P&L management, portfolio and business development, sales, pursuit and consulting in the business process mobilization, information security, data management and application delivery infrastructure space. Visionary, driven, and customer focused, he is passionate about applying his knowledge and experience from the technology world to help businesses thrive and succeed, especially during times of uncertainty and change. May we call on Mr. Wai Tong? Hi, Wai. Thank you for being with us today. I believe Wai hasn't called in yet and had an emergency meeting. So we will have Wai later on, so please take note on that. But I'll introduce to you today Jared Raymer, our last and definitely not the least to join us today in the panel.
Hi there, my name is Jared Reimer. I'm based in Seattle, Washington in the United States. And I've been actually working on remote end user compute virtual desktop for 20 years. I worked in the independent internet service business back in the dial-up days, and we've been trying to make this work the entire time. And I'm pleased to say finally the technology and the network are ready. So after a long wait, I can tell you with certainty that end user compute in the cloud is a reality today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared, for being with us. Actually, an interesting fact about Jared is that he was a senior technical advisor to HBO's Silicon Valley. He also likes to cook paella and still trying to find the perfect recipe. And he is also an avid downhill skier. I would like to know, Jared, have you found the perfect recipe yet?
I've tried probably 40 of them over the years. I've been trying this for a couple decades. Definitely have not found perfection, but I enjoy the pursuit.
All right, thank you. May we call in again Mr. Mon Katane to join us in the panel?
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much for asking me to join.
All right, thank you, Mon. So while we're trying to populate our Q&A box from our 127 plus attendees right now, I would like to ask an introductory questions to each of you today. I think I would start with Joel Garcia, Mr. Joel Garcia first. So hi, Joel.
Hi, KB. Yes.
So Joel, what are the typical use cases for EUC that you are seeing in the Philippine market? And based on the customers you've encountered, how easy is it really for them to provision or deploy?
So thank you for the question. Specific to the Philippines, we've been seeing all sorts and sizes of companies actually leveraging on end user computing. Some of them will stand up as little as maybe 5 or even 10 virtual desktops. But then we've had customers actually go up to 1,000 and even 1,500, depending on the size of the company. Keeping in mind that these desktops are only pay as you use. So it's, if you had 500 users today and then actually drop back to 50, then you'd only be paying for 50. But they have been in varying degrees, which could be just a simple desktop. And we even have customers that are actually doing advanced graphics editing, which require specialized hardware and graphics capabilities. And we offer that as bundles as well with Workspaces. Having said that, it's easy enough to stand up the Workspaces. However, there are details. Obviously, the requirements for customers are very different on what they install and the types of applications that they need within the Workspaces. So that usually needs a little bit more time, along with, for example, looking at the network and potentially also integrating into any existing authentication that the customer may have. So for example, if credentials are already being stored in Active Directory, then there's a way to integrate that as well. But those are the use cases we've seen so far.
Thank you for that great information, Joel. We'll call you also later on. I think Mr. Wai Tong is here. Thank you, Joel. I'll just introduce Mr. Wai first, and we'll also ask him some introductory question. Hi, Wai. Can you please confirm if you're here? So I'll introduce you now. So Mr. Wai is the current end user computing of ASEAN Amazon Web Services. There you go. There's Wai. Okay. So Wai, can you please say a few words to our attendees, and thank you for making time to be with us today.
Hi, very good morning, everyone. I'm Wai. Apologies for the glitches early on. So I head up the end user computing business for ASEAN. I'm actually based out of Singapore. So I'm happy to be part of this panel to maybe share some of the experience we have gained in helping customers across ASEAN in their COVID-19 response, and also to answer any of the questions that you may have. So it's my pleasure to be part of this session.
It is an honor, Wai. I think while I have you here, Wai, I would like to ask the introductory question to you now. So how are other ASEAN countries deploying EUC, and can you share some use cases and customer experiences?
Yeah, it's a great question. So like many other organizations around the world, we have many customers in ASEAN who have shifted to full-time remote work, as most of the cities are already put under partial or full lockdown. So it's a whole new experience for many of my customers, and also from an IT perspective, it's a whole new experience for many of the IT folks out there. But the reality is that they're not really prepared for the crisis of such a scale and magnitude. Just like a quick, simple example. So many of our customers did not provision enough laptops for their desktop users who traditionally work in the office. Many of them have to repurpose their old machines, or they have to adjust their security policies to allow employees to access corporate resources using their personal device. There are also so-called power users who are obviously accessing some of the more resource-hungry or intensive applications from home. It's not a joke, but we have heard a customer who is based in Singapore who actually resort to shipping the equipment to the homes of the employees in order for them to, to stay productive, right? So customers are resorting to different ways and creative ways to try to get the employees to stay productive. We also hear from some customers that their existing on-premise VPN or remote desktop infrastructure were completely overwhelmed by this sudden surge in the workloads, and they couldn't scale the infrastructure fast enough, as you can imagine. So even if they are able to do so, they're also concerned about the cost of acquiring and maintaining all this very expensive infrastructure to support such a transient and unpredictable use case. So as a result, many of them are actually looking at bursting additional users to AWS during this time, for them to be able to manage this unpredictable workloads. Also, cite an example, we have a BPO customer based out of Manila, and they have deployed Workspaces for DR scenario before this pandemic. And they were using soft phones, contact centers, CRM applications within their desktop environment. And due to the lockdown of Metro Manila, this customer has actually moved quickly to shift their operation to 100% work from home, right? For 2,000 of their agents. And guess what? They're able to do it all within a single day. So basically the idea is that customers are looking at speed and flexibility during these times. Obviously, the whole idea is to make sure that the business stays viable and the employees stay safe during this unprecedented time. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, Wai. Those are really good experiences, and I think the speed of moving 2,000 of the employees of a company into working from home is really exemplary. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I guess we'll go on with Jared. So hi, Jared.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello, I can see you. Thank you for being with us again. So Jared, this is your introductory questions. What are the potential challenges that customers face in deploying AWS EUC, particularly Workspaces and Upstream in their enterprises? And can you share success metrics and or watch outs that customers should take into account when deploying AWS EUC?
You bet. So deploying Workspaces is actually really simple and straightforward. You don't need to be a computer engineer, cloud engineer to do that. The hard part really is integrating that in a secure manner with all of your current IT infrastructure. So for example, you need a network path between Workspaces and what are typically firewalled off backend systems. You need to think through all the questions around how much data you want to allow users to cache on their own personal endpoint devices. Those could be tablets, smartphones, laptops, desktops, etc. There's the whole question around authentication integration and auditability and logging. So deploying Workspaces and Appstream is not rocket science, but making it operational in a scalable and secure manner is really where I think you would benefit from working with one of the many consulting partners in the AWS ecosystem. It's one of those things that's very easy to get wrong, and the cost of making a mistake can be significant. So I think it's worth having someone that's done it before help you through that. The second part of your question was around success metrics and criteria. I think one of the magical things about cloud computing is that you get so much more telemetry than you probably get out of your current on-premise systems. So if you know where to look and you know how to use the data, you get really, really rich metrics, logs, all sorts of telemetry showing you actual adoption, employee participation and engagement. Our company uses all of these metrics to provide some objective measurement of employee engagement and participation during the remote work period. So there's a lot you can do to objectively measure. There's also a subjective portion, which is, of course, not easily measured through data. That would be business outcomes, peer reviews, customer reviews, net promoter score, things like that, that have a little bit more to do with whether other people are getting value out of that person's participation. So it's a mix of objective and subjective analysis, but I think that the tooling is better in the cloud than it is on-prem for most companies. And I think one of the big benefits of adopting cloud more broadly and EUC in the cloud specifically is that you can do a much better job, if done correctly, with security, with repeatability, with scalability, and also with auditability and performance metrics.
Thank you, Jared. I think being in cloud right now is become more imperative more than ever, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic we have. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I will go on to our speaker for today, Mon Katane, to share with us what our Globe is doing to helping enterprises in this time where they need to continue their business operations.
Thanks for that question, KB. Let me stop my video so that the audio comes on well. Well, to answer the question, I think how Globe Business looks at the customer is really from a wider endpoint, right? We have to take a look at the quality of the connectivity as well as the breadth of ICT solutions, that we can put to bear to solve customers' problems. I think the underpinning technologies that support connectivity, transformational ICT solutions like cloud computing, and inserting key elements like cybersecurity are very important here, because in order to deliver a seamless and thorough experience for our customers, we need to take into consideration how each of these elements work together. And we're in a very unique position to see and offer ways that we can address issues on the quality of connectivity, the quality of the access to cloud computing resources, and the proper setup of security architectures that may solve these different customer problems, whether large or small.
All right, thank you for sharing that, Mon. I think we will open the panel now. If maybe ask all the panelists to please open their video. We have 3 queued in questions right now from our attendees. And I think the first one, this is not addressed to any, I think this is addressed to Globe. So from Donald Falboom, our ICT committee chairman, is here with us today. So Mon, does Globe have solutions for MSME sector?
You're referring to the micro and small and medium enterprise?
Correct.
All right, so there are a variety of solutions that are catered to the MSME sector, beginning with the different data and subscriptions that we have for our voice as well as data packages in Globe. Right, there are a variety of devices and subscriptions for prepaid and postpaid requirements of customers. That meet the needs of small businesses. We also have starter solutions that on cloud, right? That cater to any requirement of a small business owner that wants to adopt applications that are already off the shelf or available for use, right? They don't need to worry about setting up and buying software. There are a lot of applications out there in the market that can be a plug and play solution for the different needs of the SME sector. Okay? And all of these are built in under the umbrella of what we call a software as a service. That these subscriptions, these applications that are already built up and just require a small business owner to sign up, right, to make use of the services, are also are architected to provide the level of security and access to these users without having them worry about the underlying infrastructure. So so in short, it's really the a wide variety of connectivity called data options that are available for these small business owners, coupled with the right applications that are readily available in the market that they can access over the web, and these are all underpinned by the proper data privacy, security setups that come with these applications already in place.
Thank you for that, Mon. These are very great initiatives, and knowing that our MSME has an option from the initiatives coming from Globe, especially during this time. So thank you for sharing that with us, Mon. I think we have 3 questions queued in our Q&A box. If the first question to Joel, I think Joel can see this question, but
Yep.
I will read it in for our attendees right now. So basing it on the Philippine market, how ready are we in adopting effective digital work solutions, considering infrastructural challenges we have at hand? It's a very good question.
Yeah, I think obviously we do know it's not just the infrastructure. I'll assume that we're kind of referring to is not just the speed of our access, but also the quality of our access. So having said that, companies, that has not actually barred anybody from actually leveraging from the benefits. As I kind of mentioned earlier, we do have companies of all shapes and sizes already deploying these remote solutions. Now, we have customers that are already running some of their workloads or some of their applications on AWS, and therefore it's just a natural extension by enabling that remote access through Workspaces. Another option that we've seen is where customers actually stand up workspaces on AWS, and then as Jared and Chanwai kind of mentioned earlier, having a network that actually connects back down on premises. So for example, one specific customer that we had their SAP applications that were still running on premises, but needed to extend that to over 250 remote users. So it took them about 5 days to stand that up, where the majority of the rest of the configuration, and Jared will probably talk a little bit more about that, is had to really do around the actual client configuration that was needed for SAP, plus the fact of the choice of the additional security like multi-factor authentication that the customer was also standing up and enabling on Workspaces as well. So it is very much being leveraged by companies today. So whether whether you have workloads that are still on premises or whether you're already running workloads on AWS, Workspaces is just a natural extension of enabling that remote access. And Philippine customers are benefiting from that already.
All right, thank you, Joel. We have 2 more queued-in questions from anonymous attendee. I think Jared can take this 4th question. This is also addressed to Chan Wai. The Philippines' main challenge in maximizing cloud storage and other functionality relies on our internet infrastructure, as also mentioned briefly by Joel. Any insights on this, or probably share experiences from your respective country?
So I'll take a shot at that, and then we'll let Chan Wai give you the Singaporean answer. So
Yes, please.
What we found in the Philippines, so to back up, Cascadio has extensive operations in Metro Manila. We also have remote workers in other parts of the Philippines who are not in a metro area. We've been operating there for a decade or more, so very, very familiar with the infrastructure there. First, it's obviously gotten vastly better, the internet infrastructure in particular. But here's the really important part. Workspaces uses a protocol that is specifically designed for imperfect wide area network conditions. So it does not assume that you have perfect network latency, 0 packet loss. It compensates for the fact that, especially during a crisis like this, some of the network may be congested, there may be some packet loss, there may be inefficient routing. The protocol compensates for that and preserves the user experience. So even though the Workspaces instance might be running on the far end of a submarine cable in, say, Singapore, the end user experience is actually really great. The only place where that might not be true would be really heavily graphics intensive applications. Like, I don't think you'd want to watch Netflix on a Workspaces instance, but for data entry, for BPO, for line of business applications, even for complex graphics applications like AutoCAD, it actually works really well. So I think you might be overestimating the impact of the state of the network infrastructure, even during congestion periods. The one other caveat I'll throw in there is if your application servers and your data live in Manila, you do have to consider the potential for a hairpin from the end user in their home across the network to, say, Singapore, and then back to the application server. But even there, we're really only talking 40 to 80 milliseconds of latency. That's not really perceivable by a human. So our experience has been that overall application performance and end user experience is way better than you might have guessed. And if you've used other VDI solutions, they're based on protocols that are much less optimal for this kind of situation. So I would definitely take a hard look at Workspaces. It doesn't cost anything to try it, right? You can try it, and if performance isn't acceptable, you don't have to buy it, but I think you'll be surprised. It's actually really good. I've even used it from an airplane. So if that gives you any sense for its tolerance. And Chan Wai, maybe you have some other thoughts on that.
Just to add on, we do have many customers across ASEAN who operates internationally and regionally. So they do have offices distributed across the region, and in Bangkok and Philippines and Manila and Kuala Lumpur and you name it. So I think one of the, other than the technology, which Jared has rightfully pointed, obviously from a protocol perspective, is definitely optimized, to obviously deliver applications through unreliable network. But there are obviously other factors that goes into obviously, delivering a great experience. Obviously, the design is definitely important, being able to understand what applications needs to be delivered, what sort of bandwidth requirements is required, and then be able to kind of do a proper design, getting someone who understands, basically the application characteristics and basically the usage pattern and all that is important. So it's never like one size fits all solution or strategy when it comes to addressing connectivity issues. But like I say, there are ways to mitigate the risks. There are ways to mitigate some of these user experience challenges. So it's been proven, like say, the best thing is to test it out, in a proof of value. type of setup to just make sure that application works. And obviously, it's never a one-off effort. We obviously iterate. We obviously help customers do fine-tuning and obviously evolve the environment as they scale out. So it's a journey. It's as much a journey for customers as it is for us, right? So yeah, so.
Thank you, Jared and Chanwei, for that too perspective from your and sharing that respectively from your countries. This actually helped a lot of our attendees right now, and we still have 123 with us. I think I will have the 2 more questions that we still have it open. This can be addressed by anyone. Just please let me know who will answer this. With a higher percentage of workforce working from home and security issues as it speak, how does AWS EUC sustainably protect our digital workplace security?
Yeah, I can take this one. Yeah, so basically, you know, Workspace, the Appstream, all these are higher level or high order services that basically rides on top of AWS infrastructure. So the infrastructure itself is actually designed for the most security sensitive organization, across the globe. So you name it, we have defense, we have financial customers, where they're actually deploying Workspaces in a fairly extensive manner. So first and foremost, there's no data that resides on the device, right? There's no data that gets off of AWS. It's number one. And number two, the authentication traffic, streaming traffic is fully encrypted, right? There's no chance, obviously, under no circumstances will data be compromised. Even if you're able to decrypt the traffic, it's basically just pixels, right? What the customers or whatever the user is seeing is just pixels. So it's highly secure. And obviously there are other additional security controls we could put in place, like MFA, whitelisting of the IP address, using client certificate to basically ensure that the only trusted device can connect to the Workspaces. So there are definitely different controls, mechanisms we put in place. And the good thing is that we're not going to basically overhaul the entire security infrastructure. The whole idea is actually to integrate with your existing infrastructure, be it the Active Directory, be it some of the Okta ping infrastructure. It works seamlessly with your existing solution. So that's really the whole beauty. So in summary, Workspace Appstream is really built with design in mind, rather with security in mind. Yeah.
So I'll throw one other thought on that. AWS spends, I think, billions of dollars a year on security infrastructure, personnel, proprietary intellectual property, whatever the best technology available is, they either bought it or invented it. So my belief is if you do cloud correctly, not just end user compute, but cloud computing correctly, you're standing on the shoulders of the giants. You're leveraging all of that investment and expertise that even in large enterprise often is lacking. Of visibility, experience, and staffing and infrastructure and the data set and the hotline into the NSA and whatever else. I would argue if you do cloud correctly, it will be better than what you could do in your own data center. If you do it incorrectly, it can be worse. So, the knife cuts both ways, but generally speaking, I think cloud is vastly superior from a security standpoint when it's implemented correctly.
All right, thank you, Jared and Chanwai. I think I do agree with having our MFA and multi-factor authentication, especially with just doing Zoom right now. It really requires you to do an MFA with all the security breach that Zoom is facing. Thank you for that. I think Mon from Globe will have something to share with us before we proceed with the last question. Again, for all our 121 attendees right now, you may queue in your questions in the Q&A. We have almost 15 minutes left, or you may also tap your raise hand button if ever you want to speak or ask your questions live. All right, Mon?
Okay, yeah, thanks, KB. It's important that these days, we at Globe bring in the right capabilities, ICT wise, and bringing the transformational power of cloud to the Philippines. With that being said, we're very proud and very happy, to announce really that the partnership with Cascadio has taken on a new level. Globe has now acquired Cascadio Corporation, which is basically one of the few premier partners of AWS. With that acquisition, we a scalable, experience where IT, the IT leadership of many of our largest customers leverage on the experience that is brought to bear locally now in the Philippines, where cloud is now at the center of all these transformational plans, right? So the acquisition by Globe of Cascadio brings really a wide variety of competencies, both in the implementation, professional services, and managed services realm. Cascadio is also in the field of doing a lot of AI and machine learning engineering. And then maybe Jared can share a bit of what we've been doing to target really a scalable set of managed service operations for many of our customers here.
Yeah, you bet. I'd be happy to speak to that. So yeah, as we announced together maybe a week or so ago, Globe and Cascadio have agreed to combine forces. We're going to form new companies and jointly fund them. These companies will be tasked with delivering comprehensive cloud computing solutions across the Philippines, as well as to our current customers in North America. Cascadio and Globe have been partnered for quite some time now in a joint go-to-market effort. This really cements the relationship and sets the stage for really rapid deployment of cloud solutions in the Philippines. And I'm proud to say, I think we're the only premier AWS partner that actually has its primary operations and fulfillment in the country. There are some other partners there, but I think most of their delivery and fulfillment capability is outside of the Philippines. Most of our staff, company-wide, is based in Metro Manila. We also have a team in Legazpi and other markets there. So we've been operating there a long time. You guys have some fantastic computer science programs, so we're really excited about the deal. What this means for you is you will now have the benefit at Globe through Globe of all of the learning we've done with large enterprise in the US and Canada. Some of our current customers are like major airlines, one of the largest telecom companies in North America, the largest private foundation in the world. So these are companies that have big IT budget and real deep subject matter expertise. Our idea is to take all of what we've learned helping those companies with their cloud implementations and their EUC implementations, and to transplant the best of that knowledge to the enterprise market in the Philippines, with Globe obviously already providing excellent network infrastructure, managed security. You guys already know them, you already have them as a vendor, you probably already have their fiber into your business. So it really completes the puzzle and lets us deliver end-to-end solutions beyond just the network. So whatever business challenge you might have, if it involves cloud computing, we would be the fulfillment and delivery partner. And then for those who want ongoing managed services, like 24/7 operational support, our company provides that as well. So we're really excited to be joining Globe.
This is a very great initiative, and I'm happy to know that it's also offered in the Philippines right now. Thank you, Mon and Jared. If there's anything Chanwai and Joel would like to comment on or add up to that, if not, we will go on to our last question from our attendees.
Nothing to add, KB.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
So again, you can still queue in your questions. We have at least 5 minutes left. The last question from our Q&A box: what is your view on some US companies reshoring their BPO operations due to easier and better quality of access of workforce working from home compared to here? I guess anybody can answer that.
Maybe Jared, you can take the first crack.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So some of the US companies have done work from home previously, like I think JetBlue Airlines had all of their call center agents working from home. I know that's actually become a bit of a boutique industry in Canada, where there are rural Canadian communities that have become, BPO kind of like operations. But you guys got to remember that the Philippines has something that very few other countries have. You have large English-speaking population, well-educated, common cultural heritage and familiarity, good connectivity between the countries. I think, if you look at the range of options for US companies to consider when they're looking at not just call center, but any kind of BPO, there really isn't anything quite like the Philippines. And a lot of that really is the language barrier. Like, I think one of the big complaints in the US with India is that there's really a disconnect with language and culture. That's much less of an issue with the Philippines. But also, the skill level, right? So you guys turn out really amazing, like computer science and other graduate professionals in large numbers. And in the past, I think a lot of those folks moved out of the country, but now, part of our vision and hope is that we can keep them in the country and bring the work to them. And because the infrastructure has gotten so much better, and I'm not just talking about the internet, although that's obviously the most important part, but air transport, all of the supporting infrastructure, electrical reliability, all the things that 10 or 15 years ago might have been a little bit, of a question mark for foreign companies. I think they've successfully resolved all of those issues. Traffic's still bad, although not lately. But other than that, I think the Philippines checks all of the boxes. So I don't really believe there's going to be a mass exodus of call centers and BPO operations, especially if you can continue to deliver to those customers during the crisis. Now, if you fall down and you stop doing the work because you don't have the tools and your employees can't work, those companies are going to have to find some way to answer the phone, right? They're going to have somebody do the work because for them it's life and death. But I think that all the tools and technologies exist today, even for companies that don't have company laptops deployed and big expensive VPN concentrators. You can do it with the devices the employees already have. That's really the magic of EUC, of Workspaces and Appstream. Everybody these days has a smartphone and a tablet and a Chromebook and whatever else. You can get them up and running where they are, when they are, with the tools they already own. And you can do that in a way that is more secure, ironically, than drop shipping them a company laptop with a hard drive in it. So I think you can prevent a lot of that potential reverse migration of BPO work and offshore work by continuing to serve those customers. And I think all the tools exist today. I certainly haven't heard anyone that I talked to mention that. I have heard that discussed about manufacturing. So there is a big discussion in the US right now about, was it a good idea to let all of the manufacturing in the world concentrate in China? Because clearly that's carried some downstream cost. So I do think there will be more fallout for manufacturing, but not for BPO. I don't really think you guys should worry too much about that. Again, with the caveat being that you have to keep delivering for those customers. And if you don't solve the problem and the lockdown goes on for 6 months, eventually those customers are going to drift off. So I think, not to sound self-serving, but now is the right time to make that investment if you're going to make it. And the good news is it's not a big upfront investment. It's not a lot of time or money. You can get your feet wet, try it. If it works, you can scale it up. And when you're done with it, you can scale it back down. So it's not like you're spending $1 million on new hardware. You're really just making a short-term operational expense investment in cloud VDI. So no reason not to do it, not to at least try it anyway.
That's true. Thank you so much, Jared. If there's anything that our panelists would like to add, if not, actually we have someone from our attendees that raised his hand while Jared is discussing the topic with us. I will cue Phil Nocom right now. Hi, Phil, can you hear us?
No audio.
All right, probably we lost Phil, but Phil, please let us know in the chat box or in the Q&A box if you need your questions to be answered. Okay, I think we don't have any more questions in the Q&A box. If there's any last words from our panelists and distinguished panelists for today, I think we'll start with Jared now that we have you here. Any last words for you, for our attendees today before we cue in our closing remarks for Executive Director?
Yeah. So I guess my final thought is we're really fortunate, all of us, because we work in a time and a place and an industry where much of what needs to get done in the world can be done remotely for the first time. That was not true 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So if we leverage the technology, the many different technologies required to solve this problem, we can do it. Harder, obviously, for physical manufacturing and things like that, but for knowledge work, for BPO, for call center, for radiologists, for that kind of thing, there's an incredible array of capabilities out there in the marketplace. We would like to be hopefully considered as your trusted partner for identifying the right set of those tools and technologies for your business and implementing them. But I do encourage you to, consider the possibility that the situation is not as bad as it seems, if only because we now have the means to work around it. So I'm grateful, and I feel like we're blessed for having all this amazing technology today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. And I guess last word from Mr. Joel Garcia.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for everyone for the questions. And again, it's been an honor to be here. I think obviously it's extraordinary times, call for extraordinary measures. We're very excited. We've always, at Amazon and AWS, we've always been focused on our customers. We're very excited with Globe and Cascadio together in helping us also, as well as we kind of help our customers ensure some level of business continuity, being able to enable that remote access, and obviously weathering the storm that we were all in today. So again, we look forward to hearing more from you. Obviously, we're working with Globe, with Jared and his team as well, and we have Chen Wai and the rest of our ASEAN team also helping the Philippines, obviously with their experience as well. So we look forward to hearing from you after this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joel. Next, we have our last words from Chan Wai.
Yeah, once again, it's my pleasure to be part of this panel. So I hope the information we have shared is beneficial to everyone. Yeah, so I just want to make a comment. It's like the future of end user computing is going to be delivered by the cloud and through the cloud. And this whole crisis, the pandemic, has kind of accelerated or hastened the whole shift to the cloud, as evidenced in the number of workspaces we've deployed just over the last 2 months. Just FYI, we've actually rolled out more than 100,000 workspaces globally. So basically, it's really sort of a testament of effort we've put in to help our customers to officially enable remote working in a very speedy and a very flexible manner. So really look forward to partnering Globe, Cascadia, and every one of you on this journey to help the customers and your other end users to stay productive. Thank you.
Thank you, Chanwa. And next we have from Mr. Mon Katane, our Globe speaker for today.
Oh, thank you. Globe Business is really at the forefront in building really strong relationships with our customers, whether in the enterprise space or in the small business space. We look forward really to engaging conversations that help our customers understand where they sit right now in their current business environment. Globe Business really comes in to provide strong advisory and consulting expertise that leverages all our capabilities from the connectivity network as well as the ICT solutions that we carry. And we really encourage that the conversations begin where questions about your current IT infrastructure, your network infrastructure is relevant in order for you to meet your business goals during this time. And we are really appreciative of the opportunity to collaborate with the American Chamber in uplifting or upskilling the conversation where the business interests of our customers are foremost, but with a higher interest as well that during this crisis we can all support each one of each other to make sure that all our employees stay safe where they are, and that we find solutions to bring their capability to be collaborative in a new work setting, making that possible through our collaboration between Globe, Cascadio, and AWS.
Thank you, Mon. On behalf of Amstream, and before I turn it over to our Executive Director, Mr. Ab Hinchliffe, it's also an honor for us to have you partner with us today. You've been our corporate partner for the longest time, and I would like to thank everyone, our remaining attendees right now. For any information about our corporate partnership, you may email us through Christina Winton, Ms. Christina Winton at Amstream Philippines. I'll be typing that in our chat box. So we would like to invite again everyone to scan the QR code shown in your screen to give us a short survey and let us know your thoughts. All right, now we're done to our closing remarks from our Executive Director, Ab Hinchliffe. Mr. Ab?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I think my video must be stopped by the host. But anyway, it's my thanks again to Globe for all you've done for today's presentation. The worst job of any place is to do closing remarks, but especially today when you've done such a great job. I do compliment Jared simply because the background behind him is one of my favorite cities in the world, as well as my favorite mountain in the world. My regards to Seattle. My daughter lived there for many years, and it was always my favorite place to go visit. But anyway, thank you again, Globe, for all you've done. As KV said, you've been a loyal partner. Of course, I'd also like to give a big shout out to the attendees today. We had a few glitches trying to get this meeting put together, and along the way, most of you have stayed with us throughout the duration of it. And of course, my biggest shout out would be to KV and her great team at the AmCham for sticking with it and doing such a great job today. This has been fantastic. I had a really good story to tell, but I'll save that for another day about how Globe came to my rescue this last weekend. I'm trying to work remotely from Ceylon. I had a internet connectivity problem. Peter McCara with Don Feldbaum, our ICT chair, came to my rescue. On a Saturday afternoon, Globe came out and gave me the help I needed, and now I'm back able to do this webinar today, which I probably wouldn't have been if it hadn't been for Globe and your outstanding customer service. Speaking of customer service, I would like to remind everybody, not related to this one, but at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we have another meeting on customer service satisfaction during COVID, how you maintain it. And I think over the weekend, thanks Globe, you've proved to me what you do for customer service. Finally, and also just a quick reminder, the last event would be that on tomorrow at 10 a.m., we're having our monthly general membership meeting. It's a panel discussion by some of our largest members and discussing about best practices of what they've learned and how their companies have, what kind of best practices they've done during this COVID crisis. Finally, I just want to say thanks again to Globe. I think it's proven again that my biggest surprise has been how fast the American Chamber companies have adapted to the work from home situation. They've made it adaptive, and I think a lot of what you've talked about today is I was not aware of it, so it made it even more impressive to me, and it explains a little bit better to me how our companies have adapted to work from home so fast, and that's through some of the technology you discussed today. Well, enough of me, enough of that. Thank you again for everybody from Globe to KV and your team, for AmCham members for tuning in, all the AmCham team and everybody else. Thank you again. Have a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you so much for doing your closing remarks. This would have been possible without our partnership with Amy Rabago of Globe. Amy is here with us today. And of course, from Amstream team, Gian Moreno and Mark Rabago. So we'll be flashing in the QR code again. So we would like to invite the remaining attendees to scan it right now. We could also actually put this in our post survey. So some of our attendees will receive this a day after this webinar. All right, without further ado, this has been very meaningful and insightful. This is an honor again for Amstream and Globe to partner with us, Globe Telecom and us, Amazon Web Services and Cascadeo. Thank you everyone, and hope you have a good lunch.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks again, Globe.